Heard on Thursdays with Nikki is about to go live online. Catch HOT, the iconic radio show that made Philippine FM radio talk, every Thursday on the Monster.
Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, and twitch.tv/Monster RX931.
You heard on Thursday's host, Nikki Porter. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Monsters! Yeah, good evening. Welcome back for more hot conversations on HOT. That's Heard on Thursdays, the show that made Philippine FM radio talk only on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. So as you all know, it is February, so it is still the season of love, and it is still pretty much on our minds, or rather, the fantasy of it, especially if you're single, like me. Sad. Anyway, the vision of love, as well as Mariah would put it, the thrill of romance, which, to be realistic about it, is a popular fiction created by literature, art, music, and media. And that's a good thing. They provide the inspiration for us to strive for love as it could be, if not how it even should be. And tonight's guests are the creators of such fiction. They are romance authors of pop fiction books. Pop fiction is, as the name indicates, the pop fiction imprint of Summit Books. It was born out of Summit Books' mission to bring literary hopefuls to a wider book reading audience. The brand encompasses young adult novels, teen stories, speculative fiction or sci-fi, and even fantasy. To date, pop fiction holds a roster of over 200 plus titles that have proven to be nationwide bestsellers, blockbuster movie adaptations, and certified fan favorites. Heard on Thursdays to share with us how they create the worlds of romance that enthrall young readers, we have two of the best-selling authors of pop fiction books, Ariesa Domingo, who is also studying to be a criminal lawyer, and Louisse Carreon, described as a free-spirited old soul who simply loves to travel. Let us welcome them on the show. Welcome, Arisa and Louisse. Hey! Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for having us. Yes, thank you for being a part of Heard on Thursdays this lovely Thursday evening. So let's get right to it. Arisa and Louisse, I know you were probably busy during the pandemic, just writing, but probably also doing other things, right? So what were those things? What were the new hobbies, the new binges that you guys have been into since the start of the pandemic for the past 2 years? New activities, new studies or work? Let's start with Arisa.
Because when the pandemic started, I was in school, and the school didn't know how to adjust with the new changes. So I think I just watched a lot of Netflix, and I self-studied in law school.
Ooh.
I just watched a lot of Netflix series this pandemic.
Wow. Wait, self-studied? Like,
Yes,
what do you mean by that?
because when the pandemic started, we were doing face-to-face classes.
Right. Okay. So you were brushing up like by yourself. Gosh, I
So
can't
I
imagine
think,
how difficult that could be for law
yeah,
also.
I remember Mayor Isco announcing that we had a 2 week break, and then from then I didn't return to Manila. Na I'm still here in Bulacan.
Oh, wow.
That was the
My
last time.
gosh. Well, what about your Netflix binges? What were your recent watches?
I just finished watching Inventing Anna, and it was so
Oh, yes. Yes, I've heard a lot. I haven't watched it, but a lot of people were like, you should watch it. It's pretty cool. So, yes, it is on my list. Inventing Anna. Okay, latest binge. What about for Louisse? What's your new hobby? Anything that you did during the pandemic aside from writing, and any new binges on Netflix?
Well, for the first half of the pandemic, I was stuck in the city and I was just drowning in mobile games. I think I spent
Ooh.
some money on that. But yeah, after that, the second half of the pandemic, the second year, I went to Boracay with Arisa And
You never left.
yeah, I
Wow.
never left. And I developed like freediving skills, and now I'm a mermaid instructor.
Oh my
So very
gosh.
different. Yeah.
That is so cool. So you never left Boracay. You went there and then never came back.
Yeah. I mean, I went back for about 2 weeks to settle down
Mm-hmm.
things, to
Mm-hmm.
pack up stuff, and then went back here. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wait. So you're wait, mermaid. Wait. I'm not sure if you were joking like as a mermaid, but like is that an actual thing? Or like
Yeah,
I know
it
the
is.
deep diving thing. But yeah, okay. Can you tell us like how you actually learned about to how to do that or how you came upon it when you were in Boracay?
Well, the guy I met, my current boyfriend, maybe
Mm.
my future, I don't know, maybe who knows.
Aba?
Um,
Ganon.
yeah, he's a dive master here, and he introduced me to you know um, free diving, and I just got into mermaid. Mermaid. He asked me if I wanted, and yeah, I did,
Wow. A
and it was pretty
certified
fun.
mermaid. That's like I want to put that on my resume too.
Yeah, I
I'm a
know.
certified.
Like I'm a certified mermaid. I
Yeah, you
studied
think
for
it's
it.
not a job? Wait till you see my skills. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Louise, and also Arisa for all of the things that you guys have done throughout the pandemic. So, do you guys think, along with your fans and also with the volume of books and reading material that are out there, do you think people have been reading more? We know that people read posts on Facebook and social media and online articles, whether or not they're actually true or actual. But do you think there is a renewed interest in reading printed fiction? Who wants
Uh,
to answer?
this pandemic, definitely, because of course I have readers from before, but they grow older, so they have different interests now.
Mm,
But pandemic, since we have a lot of idle time, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, I noticed that a lot of my very active readers right now, they discovered me during the pandemic when they were looking for something to do, something to pass time. So definitely a lot of new readership this pandemic.
mhm. What about you, for Luis? Do you agree?
Yes, because I think some of the people during the pandemic have like a renewed sense of simpler life. So people are baking, people are planting. So I think
Mm-hmm.
reading is one of the things that they ventured into, and they spend a lot of time doing. So yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
And also to get away from the screens, of course. I mean, of course, you have like probably Kindles that aren't as harsh in your when you're reading uh online material. But then yeah, so I totally agree also. There's a lot of people who have gone back to just reading paperback or even just online or going back to fictional stories actually, because the world as we know it is also a little crazy these days. So as romantic authors, do you have to be romantic yourself, or or is that okay, like you can actually get into the genre without actually being such a hopeless romantic? Are you both romantics? You guys think that you are?
I don't think I.
You're not? Really? Okay, what about Luis?
Yeah, I don't think I am either in that traditional sense of way. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic. Like I know that I like the idea of love,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and but like applying it in a romantic way that you always have to be sweet and stuff. Like you always have to do this grand gestures. I think in real life there are different kinds of romantics or romances. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So, Ariza, you actually were the first one who mentioned that you're not really romantic. So, how did you get into writing romance books then?
It started when I was in high school because I don't know if you know she's dating the gangster.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, it's very famous. And then a lot of the girls in my year read that book, and I think I'm one of those who wasn't aware about this book, so I had to read it to be able to join them. So that's when it started, and then later on I discovered the site Creative Corner, wherein there are a lot of different stories, and then
Mm.
actually our friend Shara was sitting there, and she was so slow to update. So a friend forced me to write a story, and then it started, and then now I'm here.
Oh my gosh. So it kind of just yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. So for Luis naman, how you're also not romantic. I love this. It's just like I easily assumed that you guys would be romantic, and then you guys are saying true, there are different kinds, but yeah, it's just I love how you both were just like, no, not really. So that is actually refreshing for me. So Luis, uh why or how did you start getting into writing romance books?
So I love daydreaming, and you know, I think that's the hopeless romantic inside of me, like loving the idea of love and loving the idea of falling in love. So
Mm,
sometimes when I want things to happen to me and it doesn't happen, I just write about it. So it's
okay.
okay. So it didn't happen to me. It will happen to this character. Ganon. So my
At least to put
daydreams
the
piled
nine at
up.
some way, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
So from daydreaming, you put it into writing, and now it's on. I guess so. You both started out in Wattpad, and was it easy to get into? Did you expect a lot of people to start reading your material when you started writing, or did you just write for yourself at first?
I started writing. To be honest, I started writing because my friend forced me to. But then when I posted a chapter, then I realized I received a comment saying, asking for another chapter. That was when I realized, oh, someone's reading my story. Someone's actually enjoying what I'm doing. So I just continued reading, and then I became friends with some of my readers, and I really like the community. I think I love reading, but more so I love the community. I met some of my closest friends. I met Louise there. I met a lot of my friends from because of Wattpad, because of writing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a mixture of my love for writing and also my love of the fact that I meet a lot of amazing people through this community.
And it's the same for you, Luis. Wait, I'm. Did someone force you into it, or did you start writing for yourself?
No, I started writing for myself, like on notebooks, I guess, and
Mm,
then I passed it
okay.
around to my classmates, and yeah. But I agree with
Okay.
Arisa though that meeting a lot of people, meeting the community is really one of the things that I love about it.
Right. And okay, so you have I love it. So would you consider them fan clubs or just communities? Like that would be the more appropriate term to call them.
I think it's more of a community, especially now because we're in a pandemic and mostly our interactions happen online.
Mm.
So, since on Twitter, I have this, I think it's Stan family. So they become basically friends, and I see them comfort each other when times are hard. And we also have a Discord community wherein we study because a lot of my readers are studying. So I think more than readers, it's like a family. It's like a community where
Mm.
we can talk more about Wattpad or also outside Wattpad.
Hmm.
Mm.
And so within this community also, when you're writing a new book and you're going to be you're submitting it chapter after chapter, do you ask for like feedback or like what do you think the heroine should do next, or what do you think what's a good problem to have for like a new conflict at this story? Luis, what do you think? Do you use the community also for some inspiration or some extra juice?
Yes, so I have a group chat with my readers. Yeah,
Ooh.
like the it's a, it's a family, but it's like they're like my kids, you know, because they're all young.
Aw, that's so
But
adorable.
uh, yeah, but I ask them for like names, character names, or I use their names, or some advice like what do they want to see happen next, something like that.
Mm,
Because sometimes you have all these key points laid out, but you need fillers
Yeah.
to fill the
All right.
chapters with. Yeah.
All right. All right. And so when you're coming up with a new book or even like a new chapter, where, if not from your communities as well or your group chats, where else can you find inspiration? Or so let's say like an original, you're starting a new book. Where would you find the inspiration?
Um, I think we all find inspiration everywhere. For
Okay.
example, when I watch Netflix or because I'm studying in law school now, I tend to write about stories related to law. So when
Mm.
I read cases, sometimes I get some things from here and there, and then just change it
Ah,
so that it's not completely the same from where I got it.
all right. So it's like, so you're studying criminal law, and I think like, is it sort of like John Grisham but meets Nora Roberts, siguro? The writing. I mean, that
Right.
would be cool though. But then I like the idea that you're incorporating what you're studying now actually into stories that are up and coming or stories that are current in your collection. What about you, Louise? Where do you find inspiration?
It's like Arisa said, it's everywhere. And sometimes when I'm too obsessed on something like a Netflix show or like a book that I read, but I for example, I don't like how the book ended up or like how the characters acted. So
Mm.
sometimes I would just do a version of my own and just yeah, right. Sort of like the same trope but different like settings. And sometimes like here in Boracay, I want to write about Boracay because I've been here
Hmm.
and I've lived
All
here
right,
and inspiration from the people I meet.
got
Yeah.
it. And you all, so this also includes like drawing from your own experiences. What about your friends' stories? Like, yung nagkwento yung friend mo about this whole situation with a guy or a girl. Do you have you ever used a story from a friend, and did you ask permission if you actually did use inspiration from them?
That like that. Oh, but like that. Yeah. This girl.
Arisa, okay. So please explain.
No, because a lot of almost I think almost everyone who knows me know that I write in Wattpad. So I get a lot of people telling me to write their story. But so
Oh.
I have my own plot, so I generally don't use them. But sometimes when I interact with people, I observe them and then I get things from there. For example, when in law school, because a lot of my classmates there are already in a relationship or married, so I get what they fight about, what happened. So, but I changed it naman, so it's not very obvious. But
All
I
right.
don't ask for permission. I just
You don't ask for permission. Okay, but you change the names. Is that why?
it's not the exact same thing. I changed it.
And it's not the exact situation. So, technically, it's your IP.
Creative
Ganon.
license.
So, so what is the writing process like for both of you? Do you need to be inspired first to be able to write, or do you start writing? Well, yeah. So, like, just tell us what your process would be to start a new book or a new chapter. Louise, let's start with you.
I need inspiration. I cannot write through. Sometimes I can write through motivation, but it doesn't come out as good as it would have been if I was inspired. Like
Mm,
sometimes I'm
okay.
itching to write about something, and then so I write it, and the words just flow. But if I force myself, it's the words are also forced, and it doesn't. That's the thing though. The readers can feel that if it's forced, and that's what I don't want them
Mm,
to. I don't know to read. Because sometimes when they read something, I want them to read like to feel the emotions in it in the words.
mm.
So
Have they ever
inspiration
given you
first.
feedback? Have they ever given you feedback when it comes to like, this feels a little forced, or is it just like, your gut feeling? Now, if I
My
don't
gut.
write from the heart or something, it's not gonna
So
deliver.
far, my gut feeling pa naman, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to writing. So it takes me a while before like I deem it perfect enough to throw out there.
Okay, okay. What about Arisa? What's the writing process like for you?
think I'm a bit different from Luis because since I since I do a lot of things, if I don't force myself to write, I will
Mm-hmm.
just forget about it entirely. So I don't begin a story unless I'm sure about what will happen from beginning to end, and then I try to make it a regular thing. Like a week won't pass without me writing at least 3 chapters because I need to develop a routine, because if not,
Mm,
if I stop writing
right.
even a week, I'll just forget it entirely. And I feel bad for the readers because they've invested their feelings, their emotion in the story. And of course, I want to finish it for them because although I'm writing for myself, I'm also writing for them because it's a give and take thing for me.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
natatamaan ako. Hindi pa ako nag-update for ilang months. Natatamaan ako ah.
This is your reminder, Louis.
Perfectionist.
Oh, that's so cute. But I mean, I totally agree with that. You know, you have to be consistent, but also nobody likes to be left hanging, especially if it's a cliffhanger of a
I
chapter,
know
no?
the
So
feeling.
yeah,
I'm
I know.
sorry if you're watching, everyone reading my works. If you're watching, I'm sorry.
They will come to you when it's the right time. I know. But anyway, for all the monsters who are tuned in, you're tuned in to Heard on Thursdays with me, Nikki, and my guests for tonight. We have Arisa Domingo and Louise Carreon. They are romance authors for pop fiction books. And right now, we're just talking about their process and how it's like, or what it's like to be an author, actually, of numerous of books. So, for the both of you right now, I want to know your um what's this, I guess your how it's like when you're writing. Do you write during the day? Do you write more? Are you more inspired during the day or during the night?
Luis, do you write?
Well, if I do right, I need to
Laban.
I need to listen to music.
Okay,
I
okay,
cannot get into the mood without music. So
okay,
Mhm.
that's, and it needs to be quiet as well.
okay. And it's so, and
So
it
at night,
needs to, so preferably at night. Okay. And Arisa,
yeah.
what about you?
I don't start writing unless I know what will happen in the chapter because I don't like to stare at the screen for a long time. So when I write, I want to know what will happen. So it's gonna be fast. Less than an hour, I
Mm-mm.
can finish the chapter usually.
Yeah. And so it doesn't matter what time of day you start
Yeah,
writing.
as long as no one's bothering me, I'm good.
As long as no one's not. You lock the door.
Yeah, that's the important part.
May baon ka na. Para hindi ka na mangingistorbo. All right. And do okay, well, I feel like I know the answer for Louise here because Arisa has been teasing her. Do you write daily? Do you set aside a specific amount of time every day to write? Sige, Louise, let's find out how, like, usually what would be your process? Like, what is usually your target goal every week? How much would should you accomplish?
I think I would like to skip this question.
No, no pressure at all. I will not force you to answer this question.
Okay, okay. If I'm super inspired. The last time I did like a finish a book, I was
Hmm.
writing 3 chapters a day.
Hmm. Wow.
So I finished the half part of the book, but in 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks.
Wow. That is at your like that's at your peak when you're at your most inspired. 2 weeks you wrote a book. That's amazing.
Finished, yeah. 20
All
chapters.
right.
The
20
yeah, the second
chapters.
half. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Arisa, what about you? So how often do you write? You said usually you would try to get out 3 chapters per week. How often or how long do you write per day?
Uh, As I've mentioned before, under an hour because I just do it whenever I'm taking a break from studying.
That's
So
right.
I don't want to
Wow, but
stare at the screen because it's frustrating as well.
yeah, but I mean, but still, I mean, 3 chapters per week, I guess, with the time constraint that you have, that's still pretty impressive. And like the consistency that you have so that you don't leave your fans hanging, Luis. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Well,
I
to
don't
be
even
fair,
know the full story, but I like this banter.
she's really a superwoman. This girl. I mean, she produces like perfect chapters without even editing it.
Wow.
Like I cannot achieve that.
I love this praise. Oh my gosh. But okay, so before you guys write though, do you have any pre-writing rituals? Is there anything that you have to do? Luis, you said that you have to listen to music. Is there anything else that you need to kind of switch on? Do you light a candle? Do you lock the door, I guess? What are the things that you do before you actually start writing?
Get comfortable because it will take a while. just that, just that. Because when I start writing,
That makes sense.
I don't want to be disturbed. Continue.
Okay.
Like,
I hope you have a comfortable chair when you're writing. I think that's a
on
good
the bed,
investment.
usually.
On the bed.
Hadap pa, nakahiga, stuff like that.
Where like whichever position where you find the most inspiration that will
Yeah.
work best. All right, Arisa, what about you? Any pre-writing rituals on your end?
I just tie my hair because I hate the baby hairs on my face.
Ah,
Cute
okay.
kayo.
But it's
Oo nga
ano,
eh. It's wispy. Yun yung wispy look ngayon. Yun yung trend. You're rocking it.
please. I also like to write on bed. It's comfortable. More in the chair.
Yeah.
All right. So writing in the bed, any position, basta you're comfortable. Got it. That's your pre-writing ritual. So I think one of the most popular things that writers or authors encounter while they're in the middle of a project that they have is writer's block. So how do either of you try to overcome it? Who wants to start?
Arisa?
Oh. No, I know I'm a romance writer, but I don't really like to watch romantic movies. I don't like watching romantic movies.
Oh,
I have a writer's block. I force myself to watch
okay.
so to get inspiration. I can't read right now, so I'm forcing myself to watch movies. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's how you'll overcome writer's block. What about Luis? How do you cure that?
I do the opposite. When I'm writing romance books, I usually watch action movies and mystery and fantasy, so that I will have this feeling of missing it. Missing the romance. So I'll be like
Okay.
forced to, and I'll be inspired to write.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. It still boggles my mind how Arisa does not even watch rom-coms. I mean, or yeah, romantic movies. Only when she has writer's block. Is that right?
Or
Only when you have writer's block?
or when I have nothing to watch, or when I'm with someone and they want to watch. But if it's only me, I won't watch it.
So if it's not your choice and if it's a last resort, that's when you watch rom-coms.
No, I won't.
I totally respect that. I totally respect that. And I'm still so amazed that you avoid it and yet you're still such a successful romance author. That's amazing. So now I want to ask both of you guys, Louise and Arisa, what do you hate about being a writer? If there's no answer, that's fine because if you love everything about it, then that's great. You can tell us why.
I think when I was younger, so I was more sensitive when it comes to things, or if you live your life in public. Some people will say mean things about you. When I was younger, I got really affected by it. But as I grew older, I realized that I can please everybody. So
Mhm.
just focusing on the good things, this community, the readers I have, they're very supportive.
Yeah.
So I right now I don't have anything I hate about writing. I just appreciate everything and yeah, I love everything about it now.
All right. What about Luis?
Um, I can't really think of anything.
You
Is
don't
it
hate
such
writing,
a
so
possibility? Yeah. Oh, I mean, okay. How about it's time consuming? There.
okay.
For you.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Oh no, we're
Oh my
encountering a
God.
load of
Am I okay?
technical difficulties. Okay. Are you back with us, Luis? Oh
No,
no.
as I think. Ah, yeah.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. So you said it's time consuming, but you still love
Yeah.
everything about it.
Yeah. Aside from
All
that
right.
fact, I love everything about it. It brought me my friends, and
Oh no. Okay,
Please.
for all the monsters who are tuned in on a radio, we just lost Louise. I think her internet connection got cut, but we will try and get her back later on the show as soon as she reconnects. So a little bit of technical difficulties for all the monsters who are tuned in. You are listening to Heard on Thursdays with me, Nikki, and tonight are my guests. Arisa Domingo and Louise Carreon. They are romance authors for pop fiction. Let us see if Louise is back. Louise, are you back with us?
yeah, the internet
All right.
here is very slow.
It's okay. It happens. This is what happens when we do remote streams. Well, anyway, let's keep going. So you shared about it's less about hating writing actually. You guys love it more than you hate it, and I love that. But now I want to know from Arisa also. You don't watch romance movies unless, it's not your choice and it's a last resort. But for both of you, do you have favorite romantic books, favorite movies that you like to watch, where you can probably get inspiration from, even?
I have a go-to rom-com movie,
Ooh, do
chick
share.
flick. It's watching it now. It's a little bit problem. Some parts are a little bit problematic, but I still love it. I mean, I still love the chick flick feeling. It's
Mm-hmm.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes, because
Yeah,
you
I
can't lose
know.
someone you never had. Oh my gosh, that line.
Yeah. Oh my
I don't even know how I remember that. But yeah, that's a good choice. What about for books?
Books I prefer fantasy books and stuff.
Fantasy.
Mm.
All right. All right. What about Arisa?
For books, I really love Jenny Han's To All the Boys I Love trilogy. I
Mm,
read it like I think 5 times already. With movies,
wow.
I can think of any. I haven't even watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but I always see that on Netflix.
Hmm. Hmm. There's a lot of really good rom-coms now, actually,
Do you,
that they've
Yeah.
do
released
you want me
there.
to give
So
you a list?
do it, do it. Actually, I think that would be really great. Baka yun yung list na babasehan ni Arisa in case she gets writer's block. Then she'll force herself to watch them. Well, anyway, aside from romance though, so Louise, you mentioned that you like reading fantasy novels. But what other genres do both of you enjoy either reading or watching? Arisa.
Oh, I really like movies about the war or
Real
about
okay.
FBI, CIA, or
True
military.
crime.
Yeah, true
Yeah.
crime. I like those.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? What woman doesn't enjoy true crime?
That's
For some
true.
reason, we are attracted to those things. But you mentioned war. Can you be specific? Which war are we talking about here?
I don't know. I watch
Any?
war. Yeah, my favorite. I always watch Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my gosh.
Actually have a list. I
You really went deep there when you mentioned
if I
war.
can
That is,
find it in Netflix, I will watch it in another site. I just want to
yeah.
finish everything.
That's oh my gosh. I would not have expected an answer from you, but I love it because I love war movies as well. What about you, Luis? Aside from fantasy, reading fantasy novels or books, what other genres do you enjoy watching and reading?
For reading, yeah, I also like romance and more on fantasy, dystopian, science fiction. But as for
Mm,
movies or series, really anything goes as long as it's not drama.
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, so I like action movies, superhero movies, romantic comedies, uh, true crime. Yeah, for documentaries, I also like criminal organizations.
Mm,
Yeah,
yes.
like The Godfather, stuff like that. I
All
really
right.
like watching documentaries about that.
I love that your favorite your other genres are so dark. It's so fun and it's so refreshing to find these out about our authors tonight, Monster. So, do you so when you listen to music though, let's go to music naman. So we've done reading and watching. When it comes to music, what kind of genres do you listen to? Do you listen to love songs, especially for Luis when you are writing a book, or do you listen to I don't know heavy metal? Since you guys are so like 180 from your romance author, being a romance author, and then watching war movies or true crime.
For me, whenever I'm writing a chapter, it's always like I'm directing a movie or a scene.
Mm.
So I need the perfect song for that certain scene. And I'll be
Sina-soundtrack mo
able
na.
to, yeah, may meron ako soundtrack. So I
Love
get into
it.
the mood talaga.
All
As
right.
long as
What
hindi
about
EDM, I'm good.
mm-mm. Right. Okay. So as long
Yeah.
as it's not EDM, got it. What about Arisa?
It depends on the scene. If it's a romantic scene, I listen to love songs. But if it's just a general, I just look for a coffee shop playlist. Or if I'm not yet in the mood and I need to get in the mood, I listen to Kali rap songs because Filipino rap are so good.
That's true. Like may kwento nangyayari sa rap eh.
Yeah.
Diba? Nakakatuwa. But okay, so when you guys are listening to love songs, I want to know now, since you do have to listen to love songs, or it helps you get even more inspired when you're writing romantic scenes. Do you have a go-to love song? Like when you hear this love song, it's like, oh, it's flowing. You're, the ideas are flowing. Or do you have basta like a favorite love song that you always listen to when you're writing a romantic scene?
How about you, Arisa? Ikaw muna.
Uh, right now, I don't have any go-to, but when I was writing this specific story, I listened to The Bones by Pamungkas a lot.
Mm.
Um,
All
but
right. And
randomly look for a love song on YouTube.
okay, got it.
Spotify.
What
Yeah.
about you, Louise?
Uh, Because when I use a love song on a certain couple, I would rather not use it again for another couple because it
Mm.
reminds me already of the other one. But there is this OPM that's really, when I listen to it, I get flowy, feelings, like warm fuzzy feelings. It's
Mhm.
Tadhana
Oh,
by UDD.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Yeah. And do you actually have when you hear it, do you sing along to it, or do you have to concentrate on writing? Because I feel like it would be hard to do that, to sing along and then type.
Um, at first I sing along, and then as
Mhm.
I get into the story, I don't know, I get lost in it,
All
the
right.
writing.
That's so cool. Yeah, Tadhana, good choice. I love that. When while you guys are writing though, you're known as romance authors, but do you hope that one day you might actually branch out to another genre of fiction, or do you want to stick to romance?
Mm. With me, since I started writing romantic stories, and so far before I just published under pop fiction for romance stories. So when I went to law school, I wanted to write criminal fiction. So I wrote this story no one will know, but it wasn't as like famous as my other stories. So I had to talk to Miss June pa and tell them that I want to publish this story, but I said na it's not it doesn't have a lot of readership, but I want to publish this because it's new for me. And then I think they trusted me naman, and then they agreed to publish this story. And then thankfully, it was a bestseller, so I think it was a good decision.
Wow. That's cool. Wait, can you tell us the title of this? Maybe people might be interested. Who knows? And reading it. Go promote yourself.
It's
Shameless
entitled
plug.
No
One more
One
time.
Will Know. It's entitled No One Will Know, published
No
under
one
Club
will know.
Fiction. It's available on Shopee and Lazada account of Pop Fiction.
Ayun, no. What about you, Louise? Any other genre that you would like to delve into aside from romance?
Uh, yeah. Action and mystery. I actually wrote a little bit about action now in
Ooh,
Soulmate
Mhm.
that will be published maybe next week. But
you know.
yeah, yeah, it's about like the mob, criminal organizations in Korea and Japan.
Your
Yeah,
grandfather researcher.
so
Kaya
it's about that.
soulmate.
Yeah, kaya soulmate.
Oh, I had a
Yeah,
feeling.
so yeah, as I'm growing older, kasi you want to venture into like you want to your stories to also mature.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And in the future, maybe fantasy one.
It's
Sana.
hard.
It's really hard.
Mm.
All right. Well, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing which other genres that you guys want to delve into. Now, let's say if you were to attend a masterclass, a writing masterclass of a famous author, whose masterclass would you want to attend? Any famous author.
I can't decide.
Top three, if you can't decide.
Okay, top three. I have a top three.
There we go.
I was deciding between three people.
Perfect. Go. List them down.
I'd say Rick Ray Jordan,
Mm,
uh,
Percy Jackson.
James Patterson,
Nice.
and
Good choice.
Sarah J. Maas.
Sarah J. Maas. What genre is Sarah J. Maas?
Fantasy. You adult fantasy.
Fantasy. Okay. All right. Okay. And what about you, Arisa?
If it's
Who's
JK
master?
writing, JK Rowling, because I think my weakness is fantasy. I tried to write a fantasy story, but it's so hard with the world building. And
Yeah.
Harry Potter, it's such a good story, and it's such a huge universe, and it's just so good.
Yeah.
Dude, let me just
Actually,
say,
yeah. Go ahead.
read Sarah J. Maas. The world building is like bigger. Okay, go on. Go on.
Diba?
I love how she had to fangirl in the middle. You Kanye beeper. I gotta stop you right there. And I gotta promote my girl, Sarah J. Maas, for her world building. I love it. I support it. Okay. Well, okay, so thank you for sharing those also. Now we want to know, or like yeah, so if you are a fictional writer, if you're an author, do you earn from your work, or is has money become a chief motivation, or is this really just a passion project for you guys?
Mm, Not very.
I don't
Uh,
think there's any wrong answers, huh?
I started writing for fun, but right now I'm very thankful because writing gave me a lot, and I'm thankful to find readers na who are willing to pay to read my works. So right now, uh, writing enabled me to achieve a lot of the things in yeah basically, I'm very thankful. It
All
made
right.
me financially independent and financially stable because of
That's
writing.
awesome. What about you, Luis?
Um, yeah, writing also started for fun, but then I was pop pop fiction. I know I got published under pop fiction, and then I started earning money from writing, and then I used that money to travel. And so I wouldn't have gone to the places I've been to if I haven't been writing. And also, of course, thanks to Wattpad, because they're now having paid stories, so they're now
Nice.
also paying their writers as well and giving them lots of opportunities. So it's really nice. No, it's really nice. It's really amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, a better synonym. Well, I think it's a good thing that Wattpad is actually. Well, when I don't know if you guys reached fan fiction, but that was my playground for like a short while when growing up. But Wattpad now, I like that they're actually adding money into it because usually people just write because they love writing because there's a story to be told. And so how do they actually monetize it? Is it in terms of the number of views that you get, or is it still through like a word count? What's the process there?
What do you mean? How do they choose their books? The
No, in
books.
terms of Wattpad, you mentioned that they now pay the authors as well. Is it in terms of like the recognition or the popularity of the story, or is it in terms of like a word count?
Oh,
How do they do that?
I think it depends on the writer because Wattpad gets some writer to write original stories and then they pay them like initial
Mm.
payment. But then there are also because there are already a lot of existing books in Wattpad. So they choose those books that were once open to public reading and then now those books have a paywall. You have to purchase coins and then
per
Oh,
chapter.
okay.
writers earn through coins.
Interesting. So it's
It's
through
like
coin.
webtoon. To access the
Yeah.
chapter, you have to pay through coins, or if the story is finished, you can buy the whole book.
Okay, so it's either you can pay by chapter or by the whole book. Pretty cool through coins too. So for as romance uh authors, you have not a fan club, sorry. You have a community, you have a group chat that you discuss the stories or give you feedback as well. But what was the best praise or acclaim that you have gotten from your work, and if you can mention who this person was as well?
Mm. I can't remember who exactly sent me this, but I remember receiving a message on Wattpad telling me that she's very thankful for my stories because she's actually working as a DH abroad and that she misses the Philippines so much and then reading stories where the Philippines is settings helps her alleviate the loneliness of working alone and abroad. And I thought
Oh,
that's so nice. And that reminded me na whenever I write, what I write, it has a different effect for different people depending on what they're going through.
yeah, definitely. What about you, Luis? Best praise that you've gotten?
Someone messaged me on Instagram and showed me a picture of a baby, and
Yeah.
it's their baby, and she said she named the baby after my one of my characters.
Oh my
It
gosh!
was so cute.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that is
I
so
really.
touching.
It
Like
is. It was.
it's another layer of you being a part of their lives, but to have a baby named after. Oh my gosh, that's so
I think
cool.
we have a generation of babies named after Wattpad characters.
So that's where all the name inspirations came from, possibly. Well, another question, very hypothetical. So let's say in the future, a publishing house approached you because they had the rights to write your biography. Which writer or author would you actually want to write your origin story? And I guess it doesn't have to be an author mismo. Like me, if you know someone who is like a graphic novelist, so at least my pictures din, di ba? For your story. Okay then.
I'd say this is a romance writer. L. Kennedy.
Elle Kennedy. Okay, okay. What is it about her writing style that you like?
One of my favorite romance series is made by her. That's sports genre,
Okay.
and she has a really fun way of writing the banters in her characters and giving them depth in a way that it's not too dramatic, but you can still feel the seriousness of their lives.
Mm.
And her characters are very, very strong, like all of them. And I really, really like that they have the sense of self,
Mm.
and the fact that all of them have dreams and passions, and that they work for it. They don't just set it aside for anything. They do really follow it, and I really, really like that. And
All right.
she's just fun. Her characters are fun, and I want to be fun. So
You want to be written as a fun
yeah.
character with depth and just full of life. Yeah, definitely. What about you, Arisa?
I want Jenny Han to write my story. I just want her to romanticize every aspect of my life. Make it a fiction.
So it's part biographical, but also just add. Do you want her to also write you a love story, like an actual love story?
I want her to make me a main character and romanticize
All
everything.
right. Okay. I love the confidence. Here. Now, well, thank you for sharing your the authors that you would want to write about. You should a biography um, be in the works for you guys. Now, tell us about the books that you've written for pop fiction. Tell us probably the bestsellers, what it's about, and why monsters should read it. So let's start with Arisa.
Uh, because the old books I published in pop fiction, I wrote them when I was younger, and I had some sort of obsession with love triangles. And I know Louise hates love triangles, so I
Yeah,
want
I was about to ask.
No, we saw it. We saw the eye roll. You didn't avoid it.
I won't recommend it unless you want to be stressed. But definitely, I'll recommend my book fiction. No one will know because I'm very proud of that work. With the others,
Wow.
read it at your own risk.
My disclaimer. Read at your own
I
risk.
warned you.
It's like I want to know why. Why is there a disclaimer? Can you please tease us a little bit more?
Because it's usually about one girl and two guys, and of course, if you're rooting for this one guy and then that guy didn't end up with the main character, you're gonna be frustrated. Just like Louise when she was reading my stories, I will always receive text messages from her telling me, "Why did this happen?" Blah 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 blah.
Madaling
Yeah.
ma-attach to both guys. I get okay, yeah. K-drama pa lang, namumroblema na ako eh. What about
Oh,
what about Louise? Bestsellers, best books you've written under pop fiction, what it's about.
maybe Lana's List.
Lana's
It's my first
List.
Taglish book based in the Philippines, and it's about this girl who wrote a list for self preservation, more like, and to make guys fall for her, or to make a
Ooh,
guy fall for her, just one guy, because yeah,
interesting. All right. And
based on a
out
true
of
list.
true. Oh, is this based from a friend that you didn't ask permission from? I'm just kidding.
No, it's based on my list in college.
Oh, okay, okay. I love it. It's from an actual experience, which makes it even more authentic. Awesome. And for both of you romance authors, I know do you if ever you consider your books as your children, I know we shouldn't play favorites, but which ones do you consider as your favorite? Not necessarily the bestseller, but like you found the most enjoyable to write. had the most impact on you, which book was it?
On Wattpad or published under pop fiction?
Either actually.
Arisa, you go ahead.
You could
For
choose one from pop fiction and then another one from Wattpad also.
For me, my favorite is Play the Game because the plot of the story was in my head for like years before I finally had the courage to write it because it involves law. And when I thought about the plot, I was not yet a law student. And then I didn't want to write it without the knowledge. So when I find it, it was actually, I think, my first story that involves law school. And I remember I was so into it. I made a scheduled post every 8 p.m. and then my readers would wait at 7:55 for me to post the story. Then we have hashtag on Twitter and then it will trend because a lot of people are expecting the update at 8 p.m. It was a good time.
Mm,
Sorry.
that's cute. What about Louise?
For pop fiction, it's gonna be Soulmate, which will be published next week, guys.
There we go.
Yeah, because it's set in Seoul and Tokyo, so I think it's gonna be. It was very fun because I got to relive when I went there. But as for
Mm.
Wattpad, I'd have to say Cruel Me because it's the first book that I wrote wholly in from a male's POV. So
Wow. Okay.
that was pretty fun, intense, but also very fun.
Wait, okay. I like that you brought this up. It was from a male's POV. How did you get the input as if you had to think like a guy? Did you have to seek find ideas from male friends or your family members on how the
Uh,
male brain works?
yeah, I talked to lots of my guy friends, but the thing is, they're Filipinos, and the guy I'm writing about is an American, so he
Okay.
has a
Okay.
different mindset. So I based him off of the movies I watched. And what made it work was he would rather not face his feelings or reflect like girls do,
Mhm.
but and he swears a lot.
Oh,
He
all
swears a
right.
lot. He runs away from his
Interesting.
feelings. Yeah.
Ah, runs away from feelings. I can name a few. Okay, but it's not about me. We all know someone like that. Okay, anyway. So we are nearing the end of the show, you guys. This has been Heard on Thursdays. Before we end, I want to know, or please plug the books, the upcoming books that you guys have, the books that you already have published under pop fiction. How can monsters find them, purchase them, read them? Go ahead.
So, hi. Once again, I'm Piyush, and if you're interested to read my stories, you can find them at wattpad.com slash Piyush. Or if you want to buy the books, my books are available at the Summit store in Lazada and Shopee. So I hope you give my books a try. I write romance stories, also legal thriller. Yeah, thank you. I don't know what I'm publishing next. Pop fiction. I have no idea.
Surprise!
A surprise.
I love it. You dropped it here. I know. What about Louise?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'm Louise, aka Fallen Baby Boo Boo. Oh, you can find my books on Wattpad, and yeah, don't judge my username, please. And you can find my books that I keep mentioning, The Soulmate. It's a short read, so it's just a 2 hour read, and it's gonna be available on Lazada and Shopee, maybe under Pop Fiction, Summit Media Books.
All right. Yay. Is there anybody that you want to say hi to? I am looking at the comments section and you guys, I feel like your community is here and wide awake. I already saw in the earlier comments Inai. So I totally understood now the reference. Apparently they're your kids. Louise. So, anybody you want to say hi to who are watching online, listening on air?
Hello to my readers. I think you're there. And also to my mom. I think you said you'll watch right now, but I think you'll watch the replay tomorrow. So
Hi, Tita. For me, hi, T-Mac. I know that you guys are, yung mga gising pa dyan, yung mga night owls. Thank you for watching with me. And watching me, technically. So, yeah, good night. Matulog na kayo. Anong oras na? Bye!
All right. And last words for you guys, tips and words of advice to aspiring fiction writers.
advice to aspiring fiction writers would be to just write what you want to write, because if you'll just write what you think the readers would want to read, you'll lose the inspiration. And I think as a writer, it's more important to be inspired and to actually want what you're writing, because I believe that the right audience will find you when it's time. You'll have your own time.
Oh, love that. Louise, your turn.
There's a quote that I read somewhere. I forgot who said it, but it said, "Write what you want to read."
Write what you want to read. All right. Thank you so much, Arisa and Louise, for guesting on Heard on Thursdays tonight. It was such fun hearing the two of you banter because you guys know each other already for like 9 years, like you mentioned off air. So that's also pretty amazing to have that friendship. And also, thank you to all of the monsters who have tuned in, those who are avid readers of Arisa's and Luis's works through pop fiction or through Wattpad even. Thank you for staying up and for sending the love on the comment section on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. I'm sure they really appreciate it. And right now, though, it is the end of the show. If you guys want, do you guys want to follow? Do you guys want to follow? Do you guys want to share your socials for monsters who might want to get to know a little bit about your life outside of writing?
Yeah. I think if it's outside writing, my Instagram at Ariesa 5A yung dulo. But if you just want to read my rant about how hard it is to live right now, at WP. Yeah, I just rant about everything.
Love it. Love it. Kailangan may kakampi kapag nag-rant.
True.
What about you,
For
Louise?
me, Instagram, if you want to see the beach life or island life, it's Louisse
Ooh.
Carreon. And if you want to see me fangirl about random stuff, superheroes probably, it's also Louisse Carreon.
All right. Well, thank you, Luis and Arisa, for joining me tonight. For all the monsters tuned in once again, thank you very much. I'll see you again next week. But for now, I say good night and keep it locked only here on the Monster. Bye, guys.